This is the Prostate Pit Stop. One man's journey, everyone's fight. With Keith Smith and Matt McChlery. Sponsored by the Ferry Project. Visit our website, ferryproject.org.uk. Hello and welcome to episode 5 of the Prostate Pit Stop. I'm Matt McChlery.
And I'm Keith Smith.
And we are here again chatting all things prostate cancer. Of course, Keith is on the journey of dealing with prostate cancer himself, and I am also a cancer survivor. I had non-Hodgkin lymphoma about 10 years ago. So, yeah, here we are chatting about cancer and more specifically prostate cancer. So we left off the last episode, Keith, with you just getting ready to go for an operation. So how did it go?
Well, it didn't. It hasn't.
Oh, wow. There we go.
That's right. So the operation was supposed to be last Saturday. And unfortunately, on the Friday, I got a telephone call telling me that the operating theatre was too full. They had too many operations, and my operation was going to be too long. And so they were postponing it. So I must admit that was quite a blow's not the right word, and disappointment's not the right word. I don't know what the word is in between, but it's certainly a surprise, and certainly has an emotional impact. It's certainly it's very interesting when you get that type of news. It just, for a second, you just sat there in disbelief because unfortunately I was driving my car and
oh no, you didn't have a crash.
I didn't. No, my wife took the phone call and put it on speakerphone, and they said so. But I did have to stop. I did have to pull over and find a place. So and I understood. I mean, nobody they weren't saying that my operation was irrelevant or anything, and they offered me another date straight away, and they were very apologetic. But the impact of it was something really was surprising, and not just on me, but on other people as well. So the operation is now due for March the 7th. And I agreed to go first thing in the morning, so I was first on the list. So I've now got to be there for 7 a.m. On the 7th. But I'd rather that than be in a situation where potentially could get postponed again. And one of the things I did was straight after that phone call, I phoned my cancer nurse. And can I say, on this, that that cancer nurse has been particularly special. She has been there, and she's often busy and so can't answer the phone straight away, and I have to leave voicemails, but she normally calls back within an hour or two. And on this day, she was back within an hour. And just being able to talk things through with her is very important because it just helps. Because of course you don't know yourself. So I must admit, I was concerned about the fact that, well, they've told me that this is an aggressive cancer and I need the operation, I need it quickly. So to have, first of all, a delay in getting the operation and then having it postponed, you feel, well, what's going on? What's happening here? But she explained that the prostate cancer, although it's aggressive with me, still doesn't grow quite as quickly as other cancers. And so as long as I get the operation within 3 months of them saying I needed the operation, everything should be okay.
It helps knowing that the 3-month thing, I mean, at the beginning, it was kind of, they said you get an operation within 4 weeks. So I guess that's what you had in your head. Now hearing sort of 3 months, it kind of changes the perspective a bit, but it doesn't necessarily help with the, I don't know, the emotional impact of, you're expecting 4 weeks and now it's going to take 12 weeks or something, 8 weeks. I don't know. Would it have been helpful to know that 3-month thing earlier?
Yeah. So I think the mistake was that when the consultant was talking, we all do it, but when he was talking to me, there's a level in which he doesn't realize the level of ignorance you've got, the fact that you know nothing. And of course, he knows a lot of things. So he was saying to us, the waiting list just before Christmas was 1 week. Last time he looked, it was 4 weeks. So I should expect the operation between 1 and 4 weeks. Now, what he didn't say, and this is vital that you do it within the next 4 weeks or anything like that. But just the sheer conversation meant that the assumption was that I needed the operation within 4 weeks. So that set a thought process off in my
Sets
head.
it in your mind, doesn't it? Yeah,
Absolutely.
erroneously, but yeah.
Yeah, so when the cancer nurse explained that they actually, as long as it's done within 3 months, they would be very surprised if there was any adverse effects of delaying it by that much. Then at least I don't believe for a second she's just fobbing me off or lying to me. I believe what she's saying absolutely is true. So therefore I could just take a step back, but it does require a whole reevaluation. You have to take some time, and indeed. It was, I'm now 3 days on from the news. And to some extent, there's still part of me just getting my head back around what's going on and the timescales and all the rest of it. Again, here, being a Christian has been, what can I say, it's a key support for me. So I prayed and I felt reassured by passages I've read and my people I know from church who've been able to talk and share with me and encourage me and be praying for me. So actually I found my relationship with Jesus been really supportive in this whole process. And certainly with this, if I'd have found it really quite a challenge without my relationship with Jesus, because where's your bedrock? How do you know that everything's okay? How have you got any ideas? So all those fears and doubts, I can pray and give them to God. But if I didn't have that, then I'd have to be holding all my fears and doubts within myself, which must be quite a challenge for those people who don't have faith in Jesus. So yeah, it has been very helpful, but doesn't affect the fact that it's still yes, it's still challenging, still upsetting, and still causes you to take a step back for a minute and just, a deep breath and go, okay, well, let's go again. And the sad thing is that my wife and I had discussions, so we didn't want me to catch an infection before going to the operation. So we'd deliberately gone away for a week, and we weren't seeing many people. And during the week we were away, my wife got a tummy infection, so she couldn't. So she was, needing the loo a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were then on holiday with me, not being able to sleep with her, not being able to, having to wash my hands all the time and doing the cooking and stuff like this. So we did all this stuff to prepare for an operation that in the end didn't materialize. So it's just, it's just interesting, very strange, and very complicated. It brings up emotions and feelings that aren't normal, or not normal for me anyway. So yeah, but March the 7th, so we start the whole process again, and I've had some feedbacks from some friends of mine who are listening to the podcast, and they were particularly impressed with the pelvic floor muscle exercises that I was doing. And as part of that program, that you're supposed to build up and gradually increase the amount of time that you can hold your pelvic floor muscles, and so on. And the target was 35 seconds, and being able to do that 5 times in a row with a short gap between them. And so I'd built up so I could do that by the time I was going into hospital. So now everybody's telling me, you've got an extra 2 weeks to build them up even further and make them even stronger.
Set a new record.
Whatever that is, I have no idea. I said I'd go get my pelvic floor muscles to do weightlifting or something. But anyway,
just coming back to something you mentioned earlier. So when you heard the news that the operation had been postponed, you had to pull over and sort of absorb the news as such. So obviously it has an impact on you, but has the impact of that been felt wider, sort of through family members and that kind of thing? And what can you tell us about that?
Yeah, yeah. Well, that has been particularly difficult, and I must admit, it's interesting because so my family members were impacted. So I've got 5 children. I'm fortunate in that, and I've got a broad family. Well, the whole family have responded and sent WhatsApp messages and things like this, and so on. Some people get angry and get cross and say, this is wrong and it shouldn't happen and blah, blah, blah. Others, my daughter cried. My other daughter said she had a wobbly. My son, who lives in Canada, just went quiet on us for 2 days. And he said, when we asked him what was going on, he said, well, he just didn't know what to say. He was just so upset. He didn't know what to say. And, he was trying to get his own head around it. And, so it has had a much broader impact than just me. And interestingly, that then reflects back because I don't know, as a parent, I don't normally expect to make my children's life harder. Most of the time, I'm there trying to make my children's life easier. So actually having an impact on them, which is negative, is something that actually I found quite difficult. I'm not used to being the problem that needs to be sorted. I'm used to being the person who does the sorting. So that in itself is quite a challenge, just trying to come to terms with that and realizing that actually for a period of time, yes, I am going to be potentially a source of discomfort, concern at the very least, to my family. So it does raise a whole load of issues. It isn't just about health, is it? It's about all sorts of things, family and how you feel and all those relationships. It's very strange.
And you said just before this, we were chatting, and you said you've had other people contact you and sort of friends and sort of people you were at school with and that kind of thing getting in touch. So how's that helping you at this time?
Yeah, well, yes. So in any journey, actually having somebody with you on the whole, most of the time is good. I mean, occasionally you need to just go and be quiet. I do. But having people there and people just encouraging and supporting is really beneficial. It is very supportive. It's amazing how a little card or just a brief WhatsApp or just a thought actually is encouraging. I don't know whether, I'm sure you found the same when you had it. It just means that that other people are in a sense on your side and on your team, and so that's helpful.
Yeah, no, it is helpful. And yes, some people find it very difficult to know what to say sometimes, especially when the situation is so big, like something like cancer, and then they kind of are lost for words. But even whatever words they come up with, you do. I still sort of drew some strength and some encouragement from that. Yeah, yeah. And sometimes I don't know if you've had this, but it's slightly off topic, I guess. But sometimes when people were talking to me about what was going on or my situation or whatever, I was in a different place. I guess I had more time to process things sometimes. And they were talking to me initially to try and comfort me, but then it ended up that I was now kind of comforting them. Whilst they were supporting me, I was now supporting them in their comfort. And so, yeah, have you experienced that?
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense to me because it is, but it's about mutual support, isn't it? Because quite often it's about just displaying love to each other. Yeah. And it's that feeling that in a sense we care for each other, and so on. I find that really helpful. And knowing that relationship's there and knowing those relationships are there, Yeah, it is. It's very supportive. And of course, my relationship with my wife, I mean, she's just there all the time. And it's interesting. She started talking about our cancer and started talking to people about, effectively associating with the whole thing, the treatment and the operation and everything. And that's interesting. I'd not really thought that she'd associate with it in that type of way, but she has, and she sees it in that. She genuinely sees it in that light, which again is just supportive. It just means that you're not going through something by yourself. But in all those senses, I'm incredibly fortunate, aren't I? Because I've got all these people around me who care and are prepared to show their care. I've got one friend actually who knows me quite well. We've known each other for 20 odd years, and we used to play cricket together. So he came along and he dropped me off a book which is all about cricket conundrums, and he said, "Well, when you're recovering from your operation, here are 300 questions of umpire's decisions. What decision would you make in this situation?" So that'll be fun. I might not be able to do much, but I can use my brain. So I'll be thinking through those things, it's just a nice touch, isn't it? It's just that somebody even thought of that is really good. So yeah. So
that's great. That's great. So if you're listening to this and you know someone who's going through prostate cancer or any kind of big life altering thing like that, don't stay silent. Do get in touch. Do drop us a note. Do send them a text. Just let them know that you're thinking of them, because it really, really does help a lot. This has been a fascinating discussion. We might actually circle back and even chat to some other members of the family and kind of get their perspective on things in future episodes. So do stay tuned for that. But for now, Keith, we'll be back soon with another episode of the Prostate Pit Stop. And hopefully at that point, you would have had your operation. We wait and see. So join us again soon for another edition of the Prostate Pit Stop. See ya. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Prostate Pit Stop, sponsored by the Ferry Project. Make sure you subscribe and share.